Hi everyone, can you all hear me? Okay, okay. Sarah can hear me, Anna can hear me. Who else? Can you all hear me? Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, perfect. Ren, can you hear me? Anastasia can also hear me. I guess we're ready to go. I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar organized by the EMA PhD Network. EMA Erasmus Mundus Students and Alumni Association. And the idea behind this particular webinar is for us to learn together, share, and also learn more about research, and in particular, how we can get our works published in international peer-reviewed journals. Okay. And then how we can also get used to the PhD environment and the challenges that comes to it with respect to research. Okay. I hope you can all see the slides and before I start. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the title is on strategies of research for new sound. Really? Can anybody else hear? Ah, okay, perfect. So I think Amma, you might have to adjust your sound settings. Okay. Okay, perfect. So some strategies for research and getting published. My name is Peter, and I will be talking about this particular topic. Okay. So we will center on identifying good research projects. So how do we identify a good research project? Okay. And what are some of the strategies of identifying a good research project? Okay. Um, and then how do we do research? Okay. And then I also focus on getting published. Okay. How do we get published? How do you structure your paper? What is it about publishing? Okay. The challenges that comes with it. Okay. In case you are not, if your paper is not accepted, what do you do? Okay. And then we will spend time to respond to the questions that were posed in the survey, in the Google Docs. Okay. So we will try to answer almost all the questions that were listed in the form. Okay. So that's in general, that's going to be the structure. And then if anybody else has a question, you feel free to post the question. Is it fine? Okay, perfect. Okay, so who is Peter? Peter, who am I? Wow, the last time I checked. Okay, so I'm a postdoc research fellow at the CNRS, the French National Center for Scientific Research. I'm an Erasmus Mundus scholar, I guess, with my master and my PhD from the Erasmus Mundus programs. And then concerning research and all those stuff, you have all those links. Actually, the slides will be given back to you. I will share the slides with everybody. So all the other stories about Peter can be listed here. I do serve as a reviewer for some journals, and I've gotten some of my papers rejected. I revised them, reviewed them. I've also gotten some accepted in journals. Okay, so I'm still in the research business, and I like to share my experience with you all. Okay, so I hope it's fine. Okay, so that's Peter. Okay, so most often than not, okay, there are certain questions that we most often than not ask ourselves. Okay, and when we are doing research, especially when you're a young researcher, these are questions that you most often than not you ask yourself. So how do you find, how do you call it, the right topic? Okay. So how do you find the right topic? So there's a particular question that most people do ask themselves. Okay. How do you know if it's an interesting topic? Okay. Where do you start? Okay, so if you're a new researcher or you're a new PhD student, how do you start a research? Okay, those in their second, third year, still the same story. Sometimes you have an idea. How do you start it? Okay, are there any strategies? Okay, and then how do you get your work published? Okay, so these are questions that most often are not we ask ourselves when it comes to research, and that's the main reason why we would like to share the experience. Okay, so I'll start by saying that there is no unique path to identifying a perfect or an excellent research project. Okay, so there's no unique path. uh, it mainly depends on uh, how motivated you are, how creative you are, okay, and your energy also, okay. But it doesn't mean that ends it. I will try to bring out certain particular strategies that might has helped me and has helped most people, and I think will help everybody so that we can all be good researchers or we can be successful in this particular business. Okay. Uh, Now, I'd like to say that if one is interested in doing applied theory, okay, since we are all doing different kinds of research, I will group it into two. We have the theory and then we have the empirical part, okay. If you are interested in doing applied theory, okay, it is best if you read empirics, okay. If you want to do theory, it's very good you read empirics, okay. Uh, why? Because if you're able to find something, okay, in the empirical field or in the empirical setting that supports what you're doing, then it makes it much easier for the reader to understand what you're doing. Okay, and if these empirical facts point to something that is usually hard to understand, uh, it adds more value to your research. Okay, what does it mean? It means that your paper becomes much more interesting, uh, relevant, okay, is pointing out to some very important facts that are observed in empirical data, okay, and that means that you have a very important contribution to theory, okay. I don't know if you get the picture. So it's important if you decide to do a theory, okay, it's important that you spend time to read empirical aspects of what you are doing, okay, to provide support, okay. And the same thing applies to those of us who are working in empirics. If you're doing an empirical work, it could be an experimental work, it could be a survey, okay. If you are doing all these things, it is very important if it becomes much more relevant if you can tie it, okay, to underlying theory, okay. If you can tied to some existing theory, then it shows that your research is novel, your research is um, important, okay, is convincing, okay. Most papers that I have reviewed, most often are not, do not do this, and unfortunately, I do have to reject most papers in this particular hood that I don't see these things, okay. So it's important to tie whatever aspect you're dealing with. If you're dealing with empirics, try to tie it with some theoretical background, okay. Okay, so that is very important, okay. So much of our work as researchers, okay, much of our works as researchers um, lies in finding the research frontier, okay. So that is what that's that's what we really need to do. Okay, we received questions as to how do you find something that is very interesting? How do you know your topic is very interesting? Okay, it all falls under this. So our work focuses on finding the research frontier. Okay, so these are questions that experts or researchers in your area of research are currently struggling with. Okay, so these are things they are currently struggling with, and they haven't really obtained answers in that particular area. Okay, so if you are able to identify these particular areas, okay, and then find new ways or new approaches or new techniques of resolving these particular questions or finding answers to these particular questions will be an excellent step when it comes to research, okay? And you'll be on top of your domain if you're able to identify some of these areas, okay? So this will avoid you using dead topics. I mean, topics that people have stopped treating for so many years, okay? So it's important that we all make time to identify uh, the research frontier in our domains. Okay. So how do we do that? Okay. So how do we do that? You can do that. So there's one technique I use, or these are some of the techniques I use. You have to attend departmental seminars, okay, in your field. Okay. It's very important. It can be boring, most often than not. Haha. But it's important to attend seminars. Okay, why? Because this will be a direct source of ideas. Because if people are presenting their work, you might obtain several ideas from what you're doing. Okay, via questions. Okay, via the way they structure their work, saying, okay, there are certain federal research, or we found difficulty in doing this and that kind of stuff. This is a direct source of ideas, okay? You might attend a particular seminar which might not be exactly what you're doing, but you might have an idea from this particular seminar. So it's important to attend departmental seminars, okay? So you watch how these experts or people who have been very successful in this area structure the questions, okay? You ask yourself, is it really relevant? Do they convince me? Is there something they fall short of? Okay. And these will help you. These are very good ingredients that will help you develop your own research. Okay. So you try to listen to them, listen to how they present the ideas, what is lacking. Okay. So this will help mold you. Okay, into becoming a better researcher and also obtaining very good ideas. Okay. The other point is attend seminars for potentially new assistant professors at your university. Okay. Sometimes uh, your department might invite certain people. Okay. It could be postdoc or it could be doctoral students who are almost finishing or almost about to defend. Okay, and it's very good you attend these particular seminars. Why? Because these people are about to finish. They want to become assistant professors. They are actually working on current issues. Okay, so you listening to them will also help you figure out some of the leading questions or some of the important issues that people in your area are struggling to find answers to. Okay, or are struggling to find meaning to certain questions that are yet to be answered. Okay. And one other thing I did was also to read researchers, papers from people who are known in my area. Okay. To find out what they're actually struggling with currently. You can do that by checking their website. Okay. What are some of the current things that you're doing, current working papers, and that kind of stuff. This will give you an idea of what the research frontier is. Okay, what is current now? What's the current trend? What is interesting now? Or in a nutshell, what are the hot topics in your area? Okay, so it is important that you adapt. So this is another strategy I used, and it did really help me a lot. Okay. Okay, fine. Another point is for us to spend time to read the so-called or the best journals selectively. Okay, what do I mean by that? You selectively select which journals to read. Okay, so the best journals you read them selectively because why am I saying that? There are some journals that it takes about 3 or 4 years, 2, 3 years to get a paper published. Okay, what does it mean? It means that the current things that are published now, okay, in said journals are ideas or things that about 3 or 4 years ago were pretty very much interesting. Okay, so you also have to take into account that some of the things that are coming out in the top journals, okay, might be hot topics for the last 3 years or 4 or 5 years. Okay, so you don't just read any top journal or best journal. Try to figure out which journals do not take so much time for people to get their paper accepted. I mean, if you have a journal accepted within 2 years, it's fine, but 3, 4 years is also another issue. Okay, so this will help you obtain the current trends in that particular area. Okay. Another strategy for you to be able to obtain ideas is to interact. Interact with professors and also your colleagues. Okay. This is an excellent source of idea. Okay. Your interaction with them will bring out certain issues or certain topics that are the so-called hot topics in your area. Okay, you might interact with somebody who is doing something totally different, but the person's approach to what he or she is doing might give you an insight as to how you can solve your problem in your research area, or it might give you a new insight to looking at what you're doing. Okay, so it's important for you to interact with professors and your colleagues. Okay, that's very important. It did help me. So in your laboratory, be open and then share ideas, try to find out what somebody is doing and be interested, make time to listen. Then who knows, you might get 1 or 2 ideas to do your work in a different way. Okay, so it's an important point. And now another point is for you to recognize that it's important for you to question everything. Okay, uh, if your professor or if any professor, could it be a Nobel Prize, it could be your supervisor, it could be anybody in the department or anyone in the literature, if the person comes to present a work or you have seen a paper, don't just accept it that way. Make time, read it, and question everything. Okay, why did they do this way? Is it interesting? Why such an assumption? Okay, is it not a strong assumption? Can we do it this way or that way? Okay, this will open your mind to creating or developing an excellent research project for yourself. Okay, and your ability to do these things will add more value when you're writing your research. Okay, and obviously it will help get your paper published or your work published. Okay. For PhD, for PhDs, personally, I think that our job is research. Okay, it's not about taking courses. I don't recommend anybody taking so many courses or taking courses that are not so relevant. It's very good you take courses that are in line with what you're doing or will help you do your research. Okay, so don't focus so much on coursework, but make time to focus on your research work. Okay, I don't know if you get it. Are you getting the picture? Okay, perfect. So now another, aside taking courses, okay, another thing that I will say is that if it is possible, don't spend so much time on teaching. Okay, don't take so many courses. Okay, it's like a heavy cost to you. Okay, you have 3 years, yeah, 3 or more. Usually, let's limit it 3 or 4 years. Okay, you have about 3, 4 years to get your research done. Okay, so don't, if you have to teach, that's fine, okay? But don't take so many courses because you want to be paid more or because you want to please your professors, okay? Make time to do research. Our job is research, okay? There was another question about how we handle our supervisors or our PhD advisors. For this question, it's challenging. It depends on the advisor also, okay? What I would like to say is that most often are not our advisors like us, okay? I mean, he or she likes you. I mean, that's why you are the student, okay? He took you up for a PhD. So by default, they like you, okay? So it is important. So it's like a relationship, okay? Boy-girl relationship, okay? So engage them, okay? Feel free to engage your advisors with ideas, okay? Do not be afraid to speak up, okay? Be humble and then make time to engage them with ideas. Throw in ideas, okay? Before that, make sure that you have done your homework on that idea, okay? What I will say is that sometimes you may throw in an idea and then your advisor might be resistant or might say, oh, this is not so important, blah, blah, blah. It's because probably if you're bringing out a new approach, okay, to doing what has been known, everybody is doing the same thing, and you are trying to bring out a new approach, they might be resistant or they might be afraid, okay, as to whether you are going to do it right or not, okay? But it is your work to push them. It's your work to really market your idea and then show that your idea will work, okay? Right? And then I will also say that do not make so much time to write a full paper before sending it to your advisors, okay, to read, okay? I don't think it's a good idea. You can write a short draft, okay, you can write a draft of the work, okay, it shouldn't be a completed paper. Communicate your ideas and then send it to them. It's like, hello, I have this idea and I think it works. I've tried it on that and I think it's very good. Okay. So that is what I do. Okay. So keeping track, you also have to keep track of the professors because you have a lot of work to do. Your advisor might have 2 or 3 other students to take care of, it's not easy. So most often than not, provide an update, okay, of what you're doing. An update does not mean sending your paper every week, okay, for them to read or revising and then you send it to them. You revise a little bit, you send to them. They might be bored. You can send them an email in 2 weeks' time, okay? I mean, every 2 weeks. Okay, I'm currently doing this. I have done that. I have done that, okay, without sending them the paper. Within a month, you can send them a paper. This is a draft of what I have done. Okay. This way, they are keeping track of what you're doing. You are helping the supervisor do his or her work, but you're also helping yourself. Okay. Okay. And then I'm spending so much time on this because it's important. You should make time to listen to them. Okay. Make time to listen to them. Clear all ideas in your thought. Just listen to them. Okay. It doesn't mean that you have to accept everything that you're saying. If they are wrong, you let them know that I think this will not work, or I think this is not a good idea because of ta. Okay. So it's important you listen to them. This will make them feel happy because you are listening to them. Okay? So it also enhances your relationship with them. Okay, so about conferences, we had some few questions on that. I would say that it's important to submit and present your work whenever possible. Why? I tried this. It really helped me. Okay. Pick a very good conference in your area. Submit your work. Okay. You haven't finished your work. Most conferences they only need a title and an abstract. Okay. Submit it. Funny enough, this will push you, okay, to work hard and get the job done. Okay, it's an incentive, it's a direct incentive for you to work hard or work at a faster rate. Okay, and then because it's an international conference in your area, which is highly recognized, you will make sure that you do a good job. Okay, so this all I'm saying is also quite linked to time management or how you can work faster, how you can do a good job, okay, and then how you communicate what you have done with people, okay. So it's important that we learn. So these are other strategies that did help me, okay. So participate in conference is relevant to your area of research, okay. Why? It's also an opportunity to meet experts that you might have cited in your work. Isn't that wonderful? I've met people like that, okay? You have cited somebody's work in your paper, and then you meet a person in a conference, and he or she is in your session. Isn't that beautiful? Okay? So it's an opportunity to meet individuals like that, okay? Who are very good in your research area, and then it's also a great opportunity, okay, for you to interact with such individuals, telling them what you are doing, okay. They might even listen to your work. They'll come to your session because you cited them, and then you're doing the same kind of work, okay, or in the same area. So they will come to your session, okay. They might provide certain questions or pose certain questions that will open your mind to look at new ways of looking at the problem, okay. or they might provide certain responses or answers or comments to some of the challenges you are facing in your work. Okay, and it's also another opportunity for possible collaboration. We had questions as to how do you get collaboration. It's also another opportunity to collaborate or to work with individuals like that. Okay. Why do you attend conferences and present your work? It's because it's also another platform or another community where you meet potential reviewers and editors of journals. I don't know if you've thought about that. It's an opportunity for us to meet people like that, okay? Because you are attending a conference in your area of research, well known, and then obviously when you submit a paper, these are the same people who will review your work, okay? So it's an opportunity for such individuals to listen to your presentation. It could be an oral or a poster presentation. It's an opportunity for those people to know your work, or they'll say, I was at the conference, I heard him speak, and this is the paper. I really liked it. You know, it's an opportunity for those individuals to even provide comments, okay, to your work. So this is free, you know. So that's why we even pay for conferences. I don't know if you've thought about that. That's why we pay registration fee, okay, for conferences. It's also an opportunity for people to provide comments, okay. So instead of submitting to a journal, you have had your comments, okay. So when you go to conferences, be open, okay. Don't go and present your paper. My paper is the best paper, is done, okay. I don't need any comment. No, 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 no. Present it in such a way that you open room for questions. You open room for comments to improve your work, okay. And that is very good. Okay, so there's another strategy that you can learn. Okay, so it's very good. Comment on your papers and just avoid early submission and then quick rejection. Okay, so there's another opportunity to improve your work. I remember one of my supervisors telling me that is they don't know everything. Okay, they don't know everything. So they might have provided you with the support in your work, but they would like you to go. So they told me, Peter, go for those particular conferences, you meet people, and then they might give you very good ideas also. Okay? So you'll see the conferences as another opportunity to get your work done. And then about conferences, what I did was to selectively select sessions that are most relevant to my research, okay? Not necessarily what I'm doing, but these are sessions I am sure that I'm going to get something from, okay? So don't move into sessions because your friends are moving there, okay, or you have a friend who is attending the session, then you move there. No, make time. You have the program, and then select the session and go for sections that will help you generate new ideas, new approaches, and to improve your work. Okay, it's fine. Okay, good. So, are there other things that we need to know? Okay, are there any other things that we still need to know? Yes. Okay. How do you boost yourself? Okay, so there were questions as to how do you motivate yourself? Okay, so how do I motivate myself? There was this TED talk by Richard St. John's, okay, in 2005, and I really loved it. But in summary, these are the ingredients to success, and it applies to research also. You need to have passion for research, okay? If you don't have passion, it will be much more like a punishment to you, okay? So you need to have passion. You need to get ideas, and I've talked about ways of getting ideas, okay? You need to work on the ideas, stay focused on that, okay? Be very persistent, sometimes not easy, be very persistent. Don't give up, be on that, okay? Stay focused, okay? And then be very, very good at what in your research area, be very good at that, okay? And sometimes you need somebody to push you, okay? It could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. My mom pushed me. My friends pushed me in one way or the other. My dad a little bit, Okay, so most often than not, you need somebody to push you. A supervisor might be one, but sometimes it's not that way. Okay, so you need somebody to push you, and then you should be ready to serve. What does it mean? If somebody needs help, you provide the help. Okay, it could be in your lab, it could be a professor. The person needs help or something, you try to assist the person. Who knows, this person might even help proofread your work. Okay, so be ready to serve others, and they will help you in one way or the other. So even if you attend conferences, it shouldn't be I have a problem this, I have a problem that. No, if you're in a session and then you observe there's an error or there's a way you can help somebody, you can just say, you can do it this way. I think this method will help. It will be a nice way, okay, or opening, okay, your network. This individual might be a very good collaborator, or this particular individual might suggest other things that will be very useful to your research, and even not in research, maybe getting a job and all this particular stuff, okay? Right? So these are the things that we need to know. Now, the big stuff, getting published. I've gotten my first rejected, which initially it was sad. I was a bit depressed. My first submission. But I got used to the whole system and I'm happy. And I'm happy the first paper was rejected. Okay, so I'm going to talk about getting published. Now, consider writing your first paper jointly, okay? You can write your first paper with your supervisor or with some professor, especially if you're a young researcher. There's an advantage to this because this individual will serve indirectly like a mentor to you, okay? So this particular individual will, because the person is a professor, you're writing your research, the person will make sure that you're not just sending anything to the journal or you're not just doing anything, okay? Person, because of the experience, the person will show you how to even structure your work, okay? How do you structure your work? How do you prepare your work for submission? Okay, so these are some of the little advantages as to getting published. Write your first paper jointly, okay? And sometimes even the name of the person might be very useful. Why? Because a person's name is very high or is known in that particular area, the person will not like you to just submit anything, okay? So consider writing your first paper jointly. It's very useful to you. It's a learning process. When you get your paper published, it's fine. It's a learning process for a young researcher, okay? And then another important thing that I noticed when I review people's work or my work sometimes, most often than not, is that it is important to figure out exactly what you are doing. What did you do? Why did you do what you did? What makes it important? So these are questions that you ask yourself when you're writing. So there is a different thing doing research, and there's another different thing when you're writing a paper. It's very important. A paper for submission. You need to be able to convince the reader that what you're doing is important. So you need to ask yourself, what did you do? Okay, why did you do what you did? Why is it important? Why is it relevant? What makes it new? What's the contribution that I'm adding to literature? Okay, what makes this paper very interesting? Okay, so it's important to market this particular idea. It's important to place all these information on the paper, okay, for the reader to be able to understand exactly what you're doing or what makes your work much, much important and interesting or exciting to read. Okay. Apparently, most papers, I don't know if you have checked or you've tried it, but sometimes I just read an abstract of a paper and then I don't even read the paper again. Okay. Or I read a bit of the introduction and I throw the paper away. Okay. So make sure you convince the reader as to what you're actually doing. Okay, so it's important. Presentation is very important. Why? If you're not able to summarize, okay, in simple English or in simple words, what exactly you are doing, okay, what exactly is the problem? What am I trying to solve? Okay, if you're not able to communicate this particular information to a reader, okay, in the paper or a conference attendee or a seminar attendee, then it means that you haven't actually understood your own topic very well enough. Okay, so these are also strategies of getting published. So you should be able to communicate to the reader exactly what you have done. Okay, okay. Now, another point, another strategy of getting your paper published is submitting your paper to a top journal in your field. Wow. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Okay. Submit your paper to a top journal in your field. Okay. It is because these are top journals, and then when you submit your paper to such a journal, what will they do? To make sure that they send it to experts in that particular area. You send it to people who have been very successful in that area to review your work. What do we benefit from that? Means that you will obtain very useful comments. Okay, even if your paper is not accepted, or the popular term, if your paper is rejected, which I usually don't like using, you will receive reviewer report most often than not that will significantly improve your paper. You can also receive a reviewer report that will tell you that what you're doing is totally wrong. This way, you just stop your work. Okay, you stop and you change another topic. You don't spend so much time on it again. Okay, so if the comments are saying what you're doing is totally wrong or is far from right, you need to put a stop to that paper. Fine, you can put it on I don't know, your website as just something you did, but it will save you so much time. Okay, but the important thing is that when you submit it to a top journal, they will find very good people who will look at your paper and provide you excellent comments that will significantly improve your paper. Okay, this helped me. Okay, helped me in my first work. I did that. My paper was not accepted. Okay, initially I was depressed, but later reading the report, I noticed that it wasn't that what I did was wrong. Uh, it was that I submitted it hastily. Okay, there were certain claims. Okay, this is also important for you, everybody. There were certain claims. When you make a claim, you need to support your claim. Okay, make a claim, you have to support it with evidence. Okay, you need to structure your work very well. You need to proofread your work with find an English speaker to ensure that everything is well done before you submit your work. Okay, so these are things that I learned, and their comments significantly improved the paper, and I'm very happy today that the paper was not published in that particular state. Okay, so submit your paper to top journals and don't worry about rejection. We'll talk about that. And then ethics of publishing. I would like to say that this is very important. Try as much as possible to learn the ethics of publishing, okay? Because you are making contributions to literature. It could be in the health sector, it could be in the forestry sector, industry, and all those things. Your results might impact the society in one way or the other, or might be used. So don't forge results. Don't forge certain conclusions that are not right. Okay. Don't fix certain results and that kind of stuff. So these are ethics that we need to learn to be proper researchers. It's also important for you to cite people's work. If they did a good job, you cite it. There's an excellent piece of work done by Tatata Etoile. Okay, Tatata Etoile. So you need to cite them. Okay, so avoid plagiarism. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, it's not good on your profile. It's not good for your institution. It's not good for your supervisor, and it's not good for everyone. Okay, so it's important to cite people. About choosing journals, those in the area of economics, management, finance, marketing, all those other blah, blah, blah. CNRS has a journal ranking, okay? You can easily access it online via this link, which I'll share the slides. CNRS has a ranking of the top journals in different areas, okay? So this will help you select the kind of which journal you should submit to, okay? I do recommend you listen to TED Talks. I do make time to listen to TED Talks, okay? It opens your mind to different things, which is very good. As a researcher, to ensure collaboration or network, I think you might want to get connected on LinkedIn, okay? Try to find people who are in your area, get connected with them, start a discussion, try to find out what they're doing, okay, in one way or the other, and it broadens your network, okay? Research or getting a job and all those stuff. Those who are not familiar with LaTeX, I think LaTeX is a very good typesetting program. You can write an excellent piece of work using LaTeX. It could be your research paper or your dissertation. The output is wonderful. Okay. Actually, this presentation was done in LaTeX. Okay. These slides. Okay. So it's important that these are some of the recommendations I will give to you. Okay. And about research, if you are not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. Okay. There is an excellent piece of writing as to where to start or strategies of research by Don Davies from Columbia University. I think it's a very good piece. You might also want to have a look at it. Okay. Now it's time for questions. Hello? Oh, okay. Ta, 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 ta. Oh, yeah, some people cannot hear very well. I think it's clear. Most people can hear it clearly. Okay, fine. So, question time. So, we will attempt to we will attempt to answer the questions that were posed, and I think it's also part of the presentation, and this will bring out more information. Okay, so it's question time. The first of this set of questions I haven't attached the names of those who sent these questions. Okay, so first one, how do I find an interesting topic? How do you have, do you have any research strategies? How do I know my topic is interesting? Okay, how do I know my topic is very interesting? And how do I select a topic for research? So what we'll do will be that I will answer all those questions that were submitted, and then if you have any question, you can feel free to ask. Okay. So how do I know my research is what I'm doing is interesting? I think this has been answered. Okay. If what you are doing is in line with the research frontier, then you are doing something that people are currently interested in. For the strategies I have talked about that, how do you select a topic? I think this question is, I think we have already answered this question in the presentation. Question number 2, how to deal with rejection? Okay. Okay, that's just the idea. So how do we deal with rejection? Uh, wow. Uh, when okay, from my experience, okay, when you submit a paper and your paper is rejected, be happy. It's pretty strange what I'm saying, but be happy. Okay, look at the reviewer report. Okay, pick the report, look at it, read it carefully. Okay, with an open mind, read it, and then check exactly what they have written. If their claims are right, okay, then actually you deserved it. Okay. And these particular claims will also help you improve your work. Okay. So if your paper is rejected, be happy. Look at the report, go through it, figure out what they are actually saying, both referees. Is it valid? Okay. Are they touching on the core of your paper? If the core of the paper is not right, then there's a problem. If they are saying your paper is not well structured, they rejected it based on this. It doesn't mean that your paper is not good. Review it and submit it to another very good journal. Okay. Don't spend about 2-3 months getting depressed over it. Okay. There are a lot of professors personally have received some papers and they were not good or they were rejected. They were not accepted. Okay. So please make time, okay, when you receive a rejection, go through the report, okay, brief in, brief out, and then try to figure out what exactly they are saying, okay? So don't get so worried about it, okay? And then I'll just use this opportunity to talk about how, in case your paper was accepted but with major revision, if your paper, no, not accepted, your paper, the report indicated that you had to do major revision, okay? If you have major revision, it's positive, but it doesn't mean that your paper is going to be accepted, okay, after you resubmit it. What it means that you have to do the work, so try to pick each point, okay, review your work very well, following all the comments, all the comments, review and write everything, and then when you are done with your full manuscript, okay, don't just resubmit it like that, prepare another document. So most often than not, you have 2 referee reports. So you have written your manuscript, so you have your new manuscript. Pick each report, okay? Pick each report, and then for the first report, start question 1, okay? So the first comment, try to answer to each point. So you are going to give a point-to-point response to the reviewer, okay? A point-to-point response to the reviewer, Okay, so prepare another document, copy the comments, and then put your response, put another comment, put your response, and indicate at which page, at which line was changed and why you changed it. You know you have already prepared in a new manuscript, but you have to indicate exactly what you have done. Okay, and this is very important. Okay. Now, I'll handle some of these questions you asked in Khaled, and so we'll go through all these questions, and then I'll come back to all the questions you're posing now. Okay. Okay. So, how do you decide on which journal to submit your article? And how do you know the quality of the journal? So, how do you decide on which journal? Wow. What I will say, okay, aside looking at the list of top journals in your area, pick your paper. You've written a very nice manuscript. Turn to the back where you have your references or your bibliography. What are the papers, which journals have you cited most, or which journals have you cited? Out of these journals, Google them. Try to find out which of these journals have a high impact factor. I repeat, have a high impact factor. Okay, so first you turn to the back, check your references. Which journals have you cited most? Or this will give you an idea saying, okay, this journal accepts papers in this particular scope. Okay, and then try to check which journals have a high impact factor. This means you're going to rank your journals. And then the one on the top, you prepare your paper for submission using all the required instructions given by that particular journal. Okay, so this is how you decide which journal to submit to. And then the quality of the journal, you can get it from the impact factor. This means that a lot of people are reading from that particular journal, and then it's also recognized as a very top journal. Okay. The next question, do you think publishing in a high impact factor journal or a low or no impact journal really counts after publishing in any of these outlets? Any advice why to better start publishing as a young researcher? Okay, this is an excellent question also. I think it's important if you can publish in a high impact factor journal. Okay, it adds more value to your profile and in your research domain. Okay, so don't just I receive a lot of invitations from some journals I've never heard of. Okay, so I mean submitting to such outlets is just going to be not so important. It doesn't really count. Okay. An example, CNRS has a list, which I talked about, that if you publish in any other journal apart from this, your points in ranking in the CNRS is not really recognized that much. Okay, you don't have so much points. Okay, so submit to a top journal is very important for you as a researcher, and then when you are done with your PhD or that kind of stuff, when you're searching for a job in that area, they'll know, oh, wow, they published in this particular journal. Okay, so I think it's very important to look at that or you focus on that. Okay, now the next one, which is it necessary to cite authors or papers related to the topic that has been published in the same, let's say, same journal where you are submitting to? Necessary, yeah, I don't know. It's not that relevant, but it's necessary. What do I mean? If the paper is very good and you have picked certain information from that, it's important to always cite it. Okay. If it's from the same journal, that is fine. Okay, but it's important to cite the people. So you need to acknowledge these particular individuals. Okay, But don't just cite randomly because you want to submit to that particular journal. No, 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 no. Cite a paper that merits citation in your manuscript. Okay. Now the second set of questions: how much money for a paper? Wow. That is subset. Okay, how much money? I think it has to do with submission. And does any journal that does not need authors pay money for their paper? Okay, so some journals, for submission, some journals you will pay, other journals are free. Okay, it doesn't mean because it's free, it's not a very good journal or it's not a top journal. It's and when you pay, journals that you pay for submission also might be very good journals or might not necessarily be. Most of them are not. They are okay. For submission, so it depends. So you can submit to a journal that you don't pay anything for submission. Okay. However, in terms of publishing, okay, then if you want it to be open source, you have to pay. But if it is not open source, you don't pay as an author. Okay, so you don't just pay. Okay, so if it is open, so if you want to make it an open source paper, then you have to pay. So you can always submit to journals without paying anything. Okay, so you have to just select which journals are okay. So you pay nothing. Okay, how much does it cost to publish in an international journal? I think I have answered this. It depends. There are some journals, I mean, it varies from one area to another. I can't really pinpoint exactly how much it costs, okay? It can be $100, it can be 600, it can be 80, 50, I don't know, okay? To submit, not to publish, to submit, okay? For publishing, you don't pay anything, okay? You only pay when you want your paper to be open source. Okay, so that's the condition. How to save time in PhD? You have done it in less than 3 years. Oh, okay. I want to publish my paper, but they need money. I am a poor man, so da 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 da. Okay. Okay. Publishing has nothing to do with your wealth and that kind of stuff. If you have internet, very good internet, and you do your own research, okay, you can submit to journals that will not require any submission fee, okay, and they will publish your work, given that it's a very good work and the editor is happy because the reviewers are happy. Then you'll have your paper published without paying anything, okay. So you can do that. Okay, about saving time, I think I've talked a bit about time management, but what I would like to add is that once you have an idea, start writing. Okay, this an excellent, I think it's very good. This question came up. I personally start writing. So I have a template for, how do you call it, Elsevier template for an article. Once I have an excellent idea and sounds very good, I start writing. Why? Because the more I write, okay, my idea develops. And the earlier you write, the faster you can get a good job done. Okay? So it pushes you to work, your ideas get developed, and then you can have your work properly done. Okay? So I will say you have to start writing. Another point that will help you save time is that when you're writing, you need to be clear on your idea. Okay, clarity in your idea when you're writing a paper is very, very important. Why are you doing what you're doing? What makes it important? So you need to market the idea, make sure it is clearly stated in the paper. So in some section of your paper, it is important, okay, or what I do, it's very important that you state at some section, you say, the main idea of the paper is to ta 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 ta. So you need to clearly, at some point, after all what you have written, just say the main idea of this paper, the main goal of this paper is ta 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 ta. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so that is how you can save time. Dealing with your advisors is very important, and then attending conferences that will help you push you to get the job done. That will help you get comments to improve your work, and then submitting also to a top journal and expect very good comments to improve your work and resubmit it. So I think this is very important. Okay, and I think this has helped me, and I think it's helping most people, and I guess it will help you. Okay, how do you get collaborations? How do you get collaborations? Collaborations, you can get them in conferences, most of it are not is coming from conferences, okay, or your research group, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's how you can get collaboration. So you need to show what you can offer, and then the other might be attracted to also present what he or she would like to do. Okay. Um, Wow, so many questions, but that's interesting. How to survey the literature efficiently without getting lost in an interesting, okay, without getting lost. How do you stay motivated? And how do you solve problems nobody else has succeeded? Wow. For the last part, I don't know how to respond to that, but what I can say is that once you're looking at the recent frontier, what leaders in your area have not yet solved, if you are able to find new ways, I said new ways. If you're able to find new ways of getting the job done, it's very important. How do you do that? You can apply interdisciplinary approach to doing things, and you might solve this particular long-awaited problem in your area. Okay. How do you read literature when you're reading something, or when you're reading something online, or you're searching for so much information and then you get lost on another interesting sideline? Put it on paper and get back to work. If you have an idea, put it on paper and then continue what you're doing. You can get back to the interesting idea, and then this interesting topic that came across when you are doing your research might serve as another work, or might be added to what you're currently doing. So don't get worried when, as if you've gotten lost and that kind of stuff. It's all good, okay? It will help you in one way or the other. Okay, so how does one make sure that the article is fit for publication? Wow. I think part of this question has been answered. So how do you know? Uh, in terms of writing, you need to check your structure, okay? You have a very good abstract. You need an introduction which clearly or briefly states the problem. You need to be able to present your idea with clarity, okay? It has to be well stated, okay? You need to show that your paper is relevant. You need to show that your paper is new. You need to show that your paper is bringing something that is very interesting in literature, or solve the problem in a nice way, okay? So this a way of making sure that your paper is suitable for publication. You can send it to an English speaker to ensure that the grammar is well done. You can give it to somebody else to read, just to be sure whether he or she understands what message you are trying to carry on. If your colleague in the lab, or your boyfriend or girlfriend, or somebody in that area reads your paper and does not understand what you write, and it means that your paper is not yet suitable for publication. Okay. Now, I have written an academic article on gender in and okay, so what this question is, okay, the person needs to find who to read the paper, okay, who can read the paper. Uh, if you haven't found anybody who can read your paper, okay, if you have a supervisor, that's fine. But if you're working alone and you haven't found anybody to review your paper, one thing you can do is to assume that, okay, there's another thing I do. Okay, you assume that you were not the one who wrote the paper. Don't start reading from the beginning, start from the middle or the end, okay, and then criticize your own work. Okay, the more you criticize your own work, also like, why did I do this? This might be wrong, you know? This might also help you to improve your paper. And then I suggest you submit your work to a journal in your area in this particular topic, okay? And then I'm sure you will get the feedbacks that you need to improve your paper. Is it possible to make this webinar recording available later for viewing? Yes, it's being recorded, and then uh, you can view it at any time. Okay, it's being recorded, so don't worry about that. How do you avoid procrastination? I think I talked about time management, so that's fine. This one, research strategies and settling in a non-speaking country, mobility planning. Uh, this question was not very clear to me, but okay, so if you are in a non-speaking country, okay, I'm in France, I was in Italy or Spain also. If you have professors who do not speak English or not very well and that kind of stuff, I think it's not an excuse, okay? You can always do a very good research, okay? There are people who will help you read your paper if you write it in English. There are people who write their papers in different languages and it gets translated. The important thing is that you do a very good job. We have there are several platforms. I don't know services in universities that will help you in your English in terms of writing. Okay, there are people who can help you with the translation or proofreading. So that's not much of a problem. In terms of mobility, it all comes with planning. Okay, I work with two supervisors. I interact with them on the internet. Okay, it could be you can use Skype or you can send them email of updates and that kind of stuff. You can also make use of Dropbox, which is it has proven to be very useful also to share information or updates of what you're doing. Okay. Now, should you find your research yourself or rely on your advisors? This quite relative. I don't know. It depends on which program. If you apply to a program where they have predefined projects, okay, then you have to follow what has been written, although you are open to find your own way of doing it. So personally, I do it myself, although I sometimes I have to discuss with my supervisors to find out what they think about it. Okay, but I think as a researcher, as you read through literature, you attend seminars, uh, you read, figure out what is the current trend. I think you can be able to get a very good research topic for yourself. And I think it's very good if you're able to do it for yourself because you're in command and you know exactly what you're doing and you don't feel you are being forced to do something that you don't like. Okay. So, and there are cases you might have to rely on your advisor because they are very good in that area and they have experience. So they can might tell you that this area is becoming very important or a hot topic. So look at it. Okay. How do you build effective communication with your advisor? I think this I have answered this particular question. Okay. Uh, yeah. For instance, if you don't understand something, should you research yourself or try to do things independently? And the advisor is to help you, but most of the work depends on you. Okay, you walk up to them and show them what you have done, what do they think, and then continue. But it is your work. It is your work as a PhD researcher. It's your work. Okay. Your role of your supervisor is to ensure that you are doing a good job. They might be co-authors in your publications, or they might not be. It depends on whether they contributed to it, or I don't know. So it depends on your relationship with them or that kind of stuff. Okay. So they are to ensure that you are doing a good job. That's their work. They are paid for that. Okay. Yeah. To supervise your work. Okay. But you have to do your work. Okay. Is it better to have several papers or a single big paper? This is, it depends. If you have an excellent idea, excellent results in something, you have a paper, okay? If you have to write a full dissertation, my PhD dissertation was basically different papers combined together, all the chapters, okay? So you might, if you're writing a full dissertation, you write it, but if you obtain results from this dissertation, these will be seen distinguished or different results or very interesting results. This can be seen as different papers. Okay, so you can write a paper, so you're free to do that. And it's actually very good when you are searching for a job after a PhD that you have some publications. Okay, it adds much value, more value to your profile. Okay, we are almost finishing with the set of questions. How can we know that some specific topics are still unpublished? Nobody has done some work on it. I'm not sure that I can cover la 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 la. Okay, so how do you know certain topics are still unpublished? Okay, that's okay. So Google is very important. Google has been very helpful over the years. So one thing you can do is always to Google as to whether people are doing what you're doing in a different way or in the same way. There are certain outlets or certain platforms. In economics, they have something called Econ Papers, where you have a set of working paper series, okay, published series. So you can be part of the mailing list, so you know exactly what is coming in and going out, okay. So in your area, you might have a particular database or a particular platform where you have new works coming out, okay. So this might help you know whether the paper certain topics are still yet published, okay. And also the research frontier, or what people in your area, leading people, are currently doing. You check their website, try to figure out what they are currently doing, and then you will know that these particular areas are the things that are currently being done and they have not yet been published. Okay, so here's what I can say to this particular question. Okay, do you do self-research when you do not have any research group and limited funds? I must say that even if you have a research group, sometimes you have to work independently, or you have to be able to work on yourself. Okay, or you do your research yourself. It's very important to be able to work independently, and then you can also serve in the research group. So it is possible. So you can do it. Once there's a research group, maybe there's this particular project you're working on, okay, you can find new ways of doing it or new approaches. You start something, you can invite somebody to collaborate with you, and then there you go. Okay. How do you find a perfect supervisor abroad for PhD? Wow, perfect. This word is too strong. There's no perfect supervisors. If they are well known in their area, what I would say is that I don't know how you define perfect or how perfect is defined in this context. What I will say is that very good supervisors or known supervisors are excellent, might be very busy, okay, traveling from one place to another, visiting, and might not even have time for you, but they are known in their area, okay. So what I'm trying to say is that most part of the work is yours. It's your PhD. You will have the diploma, so you have to do your work. Okay. If they are known and that kind of stuff, if their name is attached to your paper, they will make sure that you are doing a good job. Okay. So because they don't want just to have anything in the journal, so they will ensure that what you're writing is very good. So how do you find them? uh, Check on the website. If you have a particular university you are interested in, check the kind of supervisors available, look at their CVs, and then try to figure out what they are currently doing. Okay. PhD with coursework, without coursework. Coursework might be very good in forming you or preparing you for the research, but in that case, you may have 4 or 5 years program and that kind of stuff. But I think if you have coursework, it's very good. If they allow you to selectively choose which courses to attend, then that is excellent. Okay. Why should I select European countries to pursue PhD? I think there's a question of taste, and it depends on the individual, on your preferences. I have enjoyed being in Europe. I've learned the language, several different languages, and like the Erasmus Mundus, you have the opportunity to visit other universities, meet different professors, okay, and this might provide new ways of doing research, okay. So you learn the culture, you add languages, okay, to your profile, okay. So in Europe, obviously, we don't have one language. In case you're in France, you might learn French because you interact with people, not, I mean, friends outside when you go out. So you are also adding certain things into your profile, and then it also helps you to be able to integrate with people very well. So it's a matter of taste, okay, right? I don't know if there are other questions to okay, so now if there are more questions, you can ask. Okay, question. Okay, just a minute. Perfect. So the question was, what is the influence of changing research domain after 4 years on acceptance of my work by scientific committee? What is the influence of changing my research domain after 4 years? Okay, so just trying to understand the question clearly. But if I understood you very well, okay, I don't know if it's a problem. If you are changing your research domain, as in totally different, okay? So what I will say is that you will have to do something that you love to do, okay? Because if you are going to do, if you change to a different domain, okay, you have to make sure that you really love what you're going to do. Otherwise, you're not going to do a good job, okay. Otherwise you're not going to do a good job, and okay, so if there is different research domain, if it is what you love to do, then it's not going to be seen much more like a punishment, okay. So I don't know if it's a PhD program that they would like you to change your research domain. Research domain is not, I don't know if it's very clear. I don't know if I've answered your question. Color. Hello? Khaled? Khaled? So, I don't know if your question has been answered. Because changing your research domain after 4 years, I don't know if it is 4 years after the PhD, or I mean 4 years during the PhD, then that would be much of a work. The question arises as to why the change, okay? Uh, okay, as to why the change and that kind of stuff, okay? Any question? Yeah, I'm waiting for questions. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So after my PhD, I started a postdoc based on my undergrad study. Okay. Yeah, I'm listening. Okay. So after a PhD, you started a postdoc based on your undergrad study. Wow, it's not so okay, but it's not so clear. But if I understand what you're trying to your question, you did your PhD and then you started a postdoc, okay? And your postdoc is based on some idea you had during your undergraduate, okay? I think it is fine. I mean, if it is an interesting topic or if it's a hot topic in your area of research, okay, then I think there's no problem with that, okay? Uh, Being a PhD or a postdoc does not necessarily mean that you have to do just one particular thing. The good news is that you are done with your PhD and then you're trying to do other things. So the PhD has provided a very good foundation for you to continue to develop on other things. So if you are able, if you can do all those particular stuff, then that's fine. Okay, it is accepted. It's just you are developing your research profile, so you just have to check on which particular things are very relevant and hot topics in your particular area of research. Okay, thank you. Any other question? Okay. If once the paper, okay, so before Sarah, perfect. Ren, if once a paper have been rejected, shall I resend it to another journal? But if a high or or resend it to the same days, of course, after considering the refusal. Okay, good. So if this is for him, if if a paper has not been accepted in a particular journal, and then you have revised it based on the comments from that particular journal, most often than not, the rejection notice, usually the editor might say, okay, revise your paper and submit it to another journal. Okay, I will advise you to only submit to a different journal. Okay, and then which journal should you submit it to? I will prefer you submit it to another top journal because you don't lose anything. Okay, you have received a very good comment from this particular journal. You send it to another top journal with a scope in your area, and then how do you call it? There it goes. Okay, so feel free, just submit it to another journal, but a high impact factor will be much preferred. Okay, so the refusal report in the review is just to help you get your paper in a good shape and submit it to another journal. Unless it was much more like a major revision, then you have to send it to the same journal, okay, and that kind of stuff. I hope I have satisfied your rim. Thank you. Okay, Sarah has a question. My supervisor is perfectionist and she does not allow me to go and try publications unless the paper is, in a sense, perfect. I am saying this because I got a feedback from other scholars that the paper is quite nice and has a new contribution. Okay. Okay. So pushing her, is it ethical or professional? Wow. Okay. So your paper seems very nice. You've had feedback from other scholars. Okay. I hope in your area or from conferences, and they are saying it's very good. Okay. But the question that arises here is as to why she wants you to wait. Okay. I agree. There are times some people might want things to be very perfect before they submit it, but to make it better, very good. So you need to make time to ask yourself, why, what does she want to improve? Okay. Yeah, she might be right. It happens. Sometimes we look at our paper and we think it's so excellent. People might say it's very good, but probably it is not that excellent enough. Okay, it doesn't mean your paper should be perfect, but you need to ask yourself, why does she want it to wait for a while? Okay, why does she want it to wait for a while? And then when you know the reasons why she wants it to wait for a while, maybe she wants you to do additional steps, additional how do you call it? Support of some of the claims. It could be additional proofs or some experiments. Okay, so she might want you to add certain things that will help improve the paper so that the paper will have more weight. Okay, to avoid quick rejection. It's people have submitted papers hastily and I've received some papers. I think the idea is very good, but it was submitted in a rush, and there were a lot of things I think the person could have added to make the paper much more valuable. But unfortunately, these papers were rejected. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, why is she telling you to delay? What are the reasons? And try to make time to uh, yeah, but I will get a review. Okay, yes, if you submit to a journal, you will get a review. I agree with you. Okay, I don't, I don't recommend holding a paper for so long. Okay, before submitting it to a journal. What you can do is to suggest to your advisor that okay, one, first present a seminar in your department. Okay, get the comments and the feedback. So present a seminar in your department, get a comments, feedback, and then, so if you have done that, that is excellent. And then suggest with your supervisor, tell her that, okay, very good. Okay, and also a department seminar, which is very good. And I think should be there. So get a feedback, okay, improve your work, talk to your supervisor, tell her that you would like to submit this particular work to the journal for the purpose of getting report. Okay, so just tell her that you need more comments and you think it's very important. You submit to your journal to get a report. Whilst you are waiting for the report, you continue to work on the work and do other things. Okay, I think she'll be happy with that. Okay. Okay, to send it without her, I think it's not a good idea. I think it's not a good idea. It's important you discuss with her, give her the reasons or the benefits of submitting it to a journal now. Tell her you are currently doing a PhD, and most often than not, so journals might take 1 year and that kind of stuff. So you also like to get comments from the journals and that kind of stuff to improve your work. Okay, so it's very good, and you want your work to be improved, so you get other comments from them. Okay, and then I think she will be happy with that. Yeah. Okay, so thanks everyone who participated. The PhD, EMA PhD Network, thank you all for your attention. And then these are our contact information as to how you can reach us, okay? And we will also share the slides, okay? We'll make the slides available. I'm currently trying to share the link, okay? I think you can access the slides via this Dropbox link, and it is recorded. So thank you all, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now. Okay, it's just a Dropbox link, so you just have to click on it. Okay, great. Bye for now. Okay, if the link does not work, I think I will send it to you. I will rather send you the links via email, or we will share it after this particular session. Okay. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. Thanks, and bye for now. Have a great weekend. Bye.